looks to me, frankly, that they need.
There wasn't even awarded contract at all. It wasn't even in the top three.
Okay. Why? What criteria? So we'll find out why.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because I didn't bring my older book out.
Okay.
But the guy who works for
Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
The December the 10th, 2014 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiency of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room immediately. Madam Deputy Controller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the on the agenda?
Good morning. For today's agenda, on page 52, appeared at the top of the page, beside transfer of funds, it has the number 5. Please delete that number 5 because it is a continuation of the item on page 51, which is number 4. As a result, the numbers that follow, which on pages... The numbers that follow, which are currently shown as numbers 6 to 13 on pages 52 to 55, will now be changed to numbers 5 through 12. Also on page 62, under the action requested, on line 6, the last phrase is a date of February 16th, 2018. Please change the year from 2018 to 2015. On page 82, for the Fire and Police Employees Retirement Systems Auditor's Report, please note that there's an additional audit to be noted by, or report to be noted by the board, and that will be number 3. And for number 3, it will read as follows. The 2014 Baltimore City Fire and Police Employees Retirement Systems Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. The board also received protests from Ms. Kim Trueheart for page 18 and pages 1 to 18, all items on the agenda. Ms. Trueheart's protests were reviewed and by the board, however, they will not be heard today. The item appearing on page 18 has been sent to the submitting agency to review and respond directly to Ms. Trueheart. The only item that remains on the non-routine agenda is page 53, item number 6. Originally, that was shown as 53, number 7, but because of the correction I previously announced for the renumbering, that item is now on page 53, item number 6. For abstentions today, we have no abstentions for the Honorable Mayor Rawlings Blake. And there are no abstentions for the Honorable President Young. However, we do have a no vote to register for President, and that is for page 86. The Honorable Comptroller Pratt abstained on page 32, item 1, page 80, and page 81. Mr. President, members of the board, those are the changes, corrections to today's agenda, the protests received, as well as the abstentions and the no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I would direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from my office dated December the 7th, 2014, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Controller. I will entertain a motion to approve all of the items contained on the routine agenda.
Move approval of all items on the routine agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. The routine agenda has been adopted. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 53, recommendation for contracts, awards, and rejections. Item number 6, solicitation B50003385, Employee Wellness Improvement Program. Will parties please come forward?
You know, it was renumbered. It was renumbered. No, it was renumbered to 6.
Tim Cross, City Purchasing Agent. This is the award of the Employee Wellness and Health Improvement Program to Optum Healthcare Solutions in the amount of $2,524,808.
Good morning, Mr. President, Mayor and Controller, members of the board, Lorenzo Bellamy, on behalf of Active Health. We are here in protest and opposition to the recommended award to Optum. If I could take a few minutes also to just explain, we have submitted a written protest that was filed on November 5th. In that written protest, I just want to make sure that I clarify, there was an issue regarding price that we had a problem with. Subsequent to our submission of our protest, we discovered that there was a BAFO that we were not a party to, obviously, for being found non-compliant on the MBE WBE issue. The BAFO was, the two parties that were invited to the BAFO were Optum Health and Alere. Alere really isn't a factor here because Optum Health has agreed to purchase Alere. Very interesting situation there. But so obviously Alere would not do anything to upset Optum. But the price that was finally submitted to the board was as Mr. Cross said, was $2.5 million. Originally, it was $3.305, so we're looking at almost an $800,000 reduction, about 25%. Ironically, it's still higher than our initial offer of 2.509. I'm sorry, not 2.509. It was 2.509. So we're hoping that, notwithstanding, and my colleague will address the MBE issue, but notwithstanding the fact that we were allegedly found non-compliant on the MBE WBE issue, we know that the board in the past and has a history of basically allowing companies to cure, especially when the best interest of the city, the best interest of the residents of the city is at hand here, usually related to costs. Now, I know $800,000 initially was our argument, and now we're at $15,000, so that is a big gap, a big variance there. But still, we were still found number one financial, and it's also my understanding that we were number one technical. I'm going to turn to Mr. Schaefer to talk a little bit about the MBE issue and what our total spend would have been had we been found compliant. With your permission.
Yeah, I want to ask on the price. I'd just like to ask you a question. Okay. The recommended awardee, the Optum Healthcare Solutions, bid amount for option 1 with no spouse pricing was $2,538,112, and option 2 for spouse pricing was $3,305,851. How was, since the bid amounts for Optum for both options 1 and 2 exceed the award amount, how was the award determined?
A best and final offer process was engaged in with Optum and Alere, in which oral presentations were made. The city asked questions of each of the vendors, and after clarifying the answers to those questions, they were asked to submit the best and final offer to the city, which ended up being lower.
What were some of the questions that determined?
I don't have the list of questions that was part of that process. But it is a very standard process, and we do ensure whenever we do a best and final offer that we do not engage in any negotiations that would have caused another vendor to bid had they known that the city was willing to do that particular thing. So it is a very restricted process that we go through with the vendors.
Mr. President, I would just like to add that, it is interesting, and I obviously don't know what those questions were, but it is interesting to go from $888,000 over to just $15,000, and we look at how close they came to our price of $2,524,808 to $2,509,000, about a $15,000 difference. Notwithstanding that, I just find that very, and I'm not accusing anyone here, but I do find it very interesting that you know, you can go from that number and get so close to our number, even though we were found number one financially and number one technically as well. And I'll have Elliot talk about, you know, the whole issue of how the financials, the technical part of our bid was open first, and then and found compliant, and then and the financials were open, and then we were found non-compliant on technical.
That was actually all done in a one-step process. So that we had all of that information in the beginning. This is not an uncommon practice in the city's healthcare contracts. We have best and final offer provisions in all of them. We typically shortlist down to a smaller number of vendors who make oral presentations and go through that process, and the prices change as a result to ensure that we're getting the best value for the city. There's nothing surprising to
So
us.
Active was not invited in because of their noncompliance?
That is correct, Madam Controller.
And we're going to address that now if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Elliot Schaefer with Alexander and Cleaver on behalf of Active Health. One of the main issues here, there was a clear lack of transparency with what was going on with our client. They never received a notice of noncompliance, never received a notice of non-responsiveness from anyone from the city with regards to their proposal. The bid that they submitted, it did contain, the solicitation contained a 10% MBE goal as well as a 5% WBE goal. The solicitation that our client presented, or the proposal our client presented, when you break the numbers down, over 28% of the total spend will go to woman-owned businesses, WB entities. In addition, Active Health submitted a request for a waiver. They made a documented, detailed, good faith effort to try to find an MBE enterprise to partner with to reach that 10% goal. They were unable to do so. They have a history of working with minority business enterprises in various jurisdictions all across the state, all across the United States. So it wasn't a conscious effort to disregard the MBE requirement. They made good faith efforts. They submitted a waiver. Nothing was ever, the waiver was never addressed. They weren't denied. They received no response with regard to the waiver. And we did reach the 5% MBE. So the total, if you look at the total amount of the combined 15% combined WB and MBE, our client exceeded it. They were under option 2, over 30% of the total contract would be going to minority and women-owned businesses. So we feel that in the combined with the initial financial proposal they submitted, it is in the best interest of the city to grant that waiver to allow them to move forward, and they should have been part of the BAFO process, and it would have presented the city with the best option.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm Thomas Corey, Chief of the Minority and Women's Business Opportunity Office. We reviewed Active Health's MBE submission, and we found them non-compliant because they failed to achieve the MBE goal of 10%. And under this law, each goal must be attained. You must achieve each goal. You cannot mix or match and say, well, the combined total is 15% and we should go with that. You must achieve the MBE goal and you must achieve the WBE goal. They're separate goals and each must be achieved. As far as the 28% overall spend, and that's the argument that he's presenting here, we have no knowledge of that and no proof of that. What we have and what has to be done is that you commit to achieving the goals as it is published in the RFP guidelines. The other folks who bid on this project or submitted a proposal were able to achieve the goals, and we went through their waiver request and found that, in our estimation, did not make a good faith effort to achieve the goals. We called some of the people that were listed on their document to find out if they were ready and willing and able to participate on the contract. One said that they were able, but there was never, no follow-up conversation was ever made. Another said he was, although was listed on here, but was never actually called. So we take those out of the number of people that they say they called, there were 6. So a third of them could have participated in this contract had they been pursued. So we didn't see that or believe that they made a good faith effort to achieve the goals. And so we found a non-compliant. As for not notifying them about the waiver request, you are notified that the waiver request was denied when you are found non-compliant.
Yeah, so what you're saying is the suggestion by Active Health would have affected the city's MBE WBE program? If, yeah. I have a couple questions. What types of services were identified as segmentable that MBE firms could provide under this contract, and how was the MBE goals for this contract determined?
We look at, the agency provides us with a breakdown of what activities within the contract that can be contracted out, and among those, and these are just suggested ways. The bidder can come up with new and different ways, but what some of the ways are, people can provide advertising help write the literature to send out to the employees and let them know what the program's all about. There's printing. There's, in this instance, one of the things that Active Health was looking at was something called biometrics, and they never pursued that company to see whether or not they could be used. What they did say is that all of the MBEs that they did contact did not fit the appropriate criteria. Now, what
does that mean?
I don't know. And so there are a number of ways that you can achieve the goals on these things. And printing, there's some companies use other companies to come in and help design what kind of active health programs you're going to pursue, I guess.
So there were many MBE, WBE, MBE certified firms that could have provided the service?
Yeah, can provide the service.
Okay.
And all the other bidders were able to find the MBEs and the WBEs in order to achieve the goals.
Okay, thanks.
I will say with respect to the goals, the MBE that Optum Health, the proposed awardee, what was included in their proposal, it was 10% towards communications and marketing. So 10% of 2.5 million is going for printing, mailings that are going to the employees and the people who participate in the wellness program. With regard to biometrics, our client, the full biometric screening is going to a woman-owned company. That would be the 28% of the total contract. But our client, Active Health, they have pre-printed materials. They have materials that is based on their history, their 16 years experience serving 22 million members, state and local individuals. They have materials that work. They didn't need to pre-print communication materials. And if they would have gone and done that, they could have passed an additional, they could have added 5%, sure, but it would have passed an additional couple $100,000 to the city. So by using their in-house materials, they were able to cut the costs and reduce the cost of the proposal.
But at the expense of not being able to meet the MBE goal established in the RFP.
And they made an effort to reach out to other companies.
I know, but the net result of cost savings by using pre-printed material was to short the MBE goal.
They didn't utilize a communications company to add extra money to the contract, and they did not reach the goal. Yes.
And Mr. City Solicitor, if I may, Mr. President, the actual value and work that would be performed on this contract, majority of it, if you segment out the work, would be through biometrics and not necessarily the printing and copying and photographing, and that's why you have a higher percentage. I think this whole thing is flawed, and that they should have really looked at this a little bit differently. If you want to just pass through funds to an MBE, and I support MBEs, but which companies and which entities are actually going to do the work? This is one of the things we try to avoid in MBE issues, is just a pass-through and window dressing. We want to make sure that the companies that are doing the business are doing the business, and this particular company, the biometrics, that particular scope of work for this particular contract is the majority of the work, not the printing and the copying.
Any more closing arguments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to deny the protest and approve the recommendation of the Bureau of Purchasing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. There have been no more business before the board. The meeting will recess until bid opening is coordinated. Thank you.
For you. drop out, cancel.
Yeah, funding.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon. The Board of Ethics is now in session for the receiving and opening of bids. I have the following addenda to read for today. TR 11005, replacement of bridge number BC 6523, Spooks Hill Road over Cooper's Run. Please change the bid due date from December 3rd to December 10th, 2014. TR 15015, brine facility and building improvements. Please change the bid due date from December 10th to December 17th, 2014. TR 133. Okay, thank you. Sorry, forgive us. TR 13302, 33rd Street and Lock Raven Boulevard Geometric Safety Improvement Project. Please change the bid due date from December 10th to January 7th, 2015. Those are the addenda for today.
Hearing no objections, so ordered.
Thanks.
TR 11005, replacement of bridge number BC 6523, Spooks Hill Road over Cooper's Run. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Concrete General Inc. with a bid bond. $1,455,557.50. Thank you. Thank you. Allied Contractors, Inc. with a bid bond. $2,149,841.
Refer these bids to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report.
WC 1307R, AMI/R, urgent need metering infrastructure, repair and replacement, various locations, up to 2-inch water service. R.E. Harrington Plumbing and Heating, Inc. with a bid bond. $2,699,150. I found the bid bond.
You have it?
Yes, thank you. Metra Industries with a bid bond. Thank you. $3,324,915. Bid bond, page 151. Great, thank you. I'm looking for their page with their name. I can read it. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, great, thank you. Anchor Construction Corporation with a bid bond. $3,994,065. I had the bid bond for the next one. Spiniello Companies with a bid bond. $3,463,300.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Water and Wastewater for tabulation and report.
WC 1308R AMI/R Urgent Need Metering Infrastructure Repair and Replacement, various locations up to 2-inch water service. Thank you. Spiniello Companies with a bid bond. $3,463,300. Metra Industries with a bid bond. $3,184,415. R.E. Harrington Plumbing and Heating, Inc. with a bid bond. $2,699,150.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Water and Wastewater for tabulation and report. B50003871, Automotive Hardware and Fasteners. A bid bond is not required. Okay, we got one here. Let's see, B9. Okay, great, thank you. Okay. B&B Industrial Supplies, Inc., $175,082.42. I'm not sure if we have a duplicate. Oh, there it is. Great. Fastenal Company, $418,585.15. Okay, great, sorry. Lawson Products, Inc., $91,352.50. Excuse me,
Harry, Yes.
just one more time. You said $91,352 and
I think it's 50 cents, but let me do it. 50 cents.
50 cents, okay.
I'll read it again to make sure I do it correctly. Again, thank you. Again, the bid for Lawson Products, Inc. is $91,352.50. Thank you. Prospectus Enterprises, Inc.,
$751,651.75. Grayson Industries, Inc., $153,428.95. Certificate.
Pretty pen.
Great. RobNet, Inc., $60,795.30.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
I have two bids to announce that have been canceled for today, and those are WC 1241 water main replacements, various locations. The bids are canceled. No bids will be received or accepted. WC 1279 distribution water main replacement and rehabilitation, Sefton area and vicinity. The bids are canceled. No bids will be received or accepted. There being no further business, we are adjourned.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'll look for your email.
I did, I already sent it, yeah.
I don't mean it, I'll look